What's up guys, this is Cher talking, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be making a full review for the Liz Romancing Festival banner. That brings Liz as a supporter for defense and healing, Madeleine, a lightning damage dealer but also a lightning damage booster, Valdor, a farmer for blunt and pierce, and Shen Do, a revenge counter that can also decrease damage taken to the party. Let's go out straight out to rsrs.xyz website. Starting with Liz, she gives a name to the banner. She is a hybrid, she uses bows but also spells based on cold element. We have 104% dexterity but 110% will, and 94% agility and 121% intelligence. You can see that none of these status when you look at them for whatever she will be doing are high enough. Low-ish agility, and that can affect her accuracy for spells, and dexterity being a little low as well could eventually lead to better accuracy versus some enemies too. 100% endurance and 110% will are okay. But she self-buffs and buffs the party on start of turn. That usually fixes her problem unless the boss will remove your buffs on start of turn. Then moving on, she starts the fight with 13 BP and also fills her overdrive gauge to the max. She also gets 45 points of OG gauge every end of turn alongside 2 extra BP for 5 total. It's because she has overdrive mechanics. When she attacks on overdrive, she's going to recover HP for everyone by at least 1.5 thousand. She also casts a guard up large that will decrease damage taken by 35%, lasts for 2 turns and cannot stack. But she will always enter overdrive every 2 turns because of that extra 45 points, allowing Liz to keep up the guard up large effective at all times. She still gives a defense boost for everyone on the start of a turn that decreases damage taken by 15%, lasts for 1 turn, stacks with other defense boosts. She buffs all status for everyone by 20%, much like for News, much like Leon, and also gives them 1 BP, much like Leon. And for News too. This is interesting because she is a character that will be applying defense boost via her skills as well, but more about that later. When she's attacked, she will nullify all type of cold damage, even if it has other element, like a cold plus pierce attack will be negated. If she's directly attacked, she will counter with Water Dragon's Boom. This skill here is S power, single foe, just cold damage, and it creates a barrier for everyone in the party that will decrease damage taken from spells and from cold attack. If it's a spell of cold attack, then it decreases further. Lasts for 2 turns. We don't really know the exact value of this. You should treat this skill as an extra. GP says that it's 15 plus 5%, and that is strange. So it's more of a way to counter Megalith Dragon or enemies that are attacking multiple times than to actually take full benefit of this skill. Then she has 30% damage increase at all times when using bows. She decreases damage taken when resisting by 40%, and she has a 37% chance to evade resisted attacks. At the end of every 5 turns, counting from the start of battle, she will start the use of limit of Water Column. Water Column is her second skill. It's support for one ally and can be used twice, and then you have to recharge. And then it casts Fantasia for 5 turns. What is Fantasia? It is a 37% chance to evade enemy attacks. Lasts for 5 turns alongside giving this character a small healing. Small, it's probably 1.5 thousand every turn as well for 5 turns. Costs 5, she always have 5 at least, so that is actually good. But I will say that you're going to use this more likely when you have a very fragile damage dealer, or when you are using a counter attacker that does not evade direct attacks, so that you can actually provide a little more support, since many times you want to provide something for the whole party and not just to Liz herself. As you can see, she is barely about damage, only 30% damage increase, and that is really not helpful at all. Her skill number 1 is called Water Arrow. It's a single target pulse skill that before attacking buffs dexterity and intelligence by 25% as a level 99. It's okay to just improve a little, and her counter attacks will benefit from the intelligence buff. Then skill number 3 is called Dragon Ice Barrier. It is a 13 BP triple S power attack with cold and pierce. That's nice, just like the first one. And grants all surviving allies a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 35% as well, lasts for 3 turns, and stack with any other defense boost. Now that is a very interesting skill, and it's actually kind of a downgrade to Empress version of the skill. Empress is a Sun specialist, and she has this skill called Moon Sparkle Saber that has double elemental, 13 BP cost, triple S power, but it has something very, very important. It is also fast. By being fast, then it will always attack before the enemy unless the enemy has a fast skill. And, you know, Empress has 100% agility. If she didn't have this, then maybe some enemies would attack it before her. Now, about Liz. Liz has even lower agility, 94%. You should also consider characters like Hannah, that many times don't attack before the enemy, even if you fully level her up. 94% agility. See, so there will be cases where Liz will not be so fast, even though she's buffing everyone's status by 20%. If the enemy removes your buffs on the start of a turn, in those cases Liz may not be too fast, unless you are using someone else's as well that will be buffing agility before she even goes, or if you have action order increase from other characters. But there is something else about this as well. 13 BP in a character that gets 5 per turn, and then another 1 via her passive, that is 6 total. And then you have a skill number 1 that has 0. You don't even have a full setup of switching between skill 3 and skill 1. You will be lacking 1 BP, but in this current meta, lots of characters allow you to get extra BP. Especially one that will be very useful together with Liz, and that one will be Fornews. For people that have the latest Fornews, using him together with Liz is going to be awesome. This guy is a much better counter if you want him to be via Goblin Pool or Tidal Lure, and he gives more status buffs to fix Liz's problem by not having a fast skill. He removes debuffs to the party, also gives extra BP, and when you use a cold attack, you're gonna apply self buff, cold attack boost, and also you get extra cold damage and even get extra BP by applying defense boost to everyone, so they are very good together. There are other facts about Liz as well. For example, she starts with the Overdrive Gauge fully charged, and that is a very good way to start applying a lot of damage reduction. You already have then guard up 35%. If you use a skill tree, you're going to apply another 35% alongside 15% from her passive. 3 layers to decrease damage. And that is usually enough to already protect yourself from many bosses on turn 1. Many other bosses will still want you to have 2 damage reduction specialists, but Liz by herself is really useful when you compare to other characters, for example, like Leon. Leon is the closest competitor. He does have much better endurance than you. Leon still has something that is very useful that sometimes is overlooked. That is to buff all status by 5% when people are hit. Besides self, he already has enough endurance and will, so he doesn't really need. He has very bad agility, but he has a fast skill, and he also can provide lots of BP via Merciful Light. And he decreases damage taken for everyone by 30% already. Then he can give more via his Imperial Sun's Word that can give a defense boost of 15%, and this can stack. He can give 3 BP per turn when he's fully ready, or more if he's using Merciful Light. He also buffs everyone, gives BP, and as you can see, Liz can replace Leon. Both work super well together as well. Leon is a better healer because he will be healing a lot every single turn. Liz will then be healing on specific turns. Every 2 turns she's going to heal a lot via the 1,500 healing or more on Overdrive. So if you need extra defense boost, Liz can give you more. If you need extra healing and the passive where you get status buff when you are hit, Leon is better. Bringing those 2 together will allow you to face a lot of challenges in the future. If Liz is facing a cold weak boss, it's better to bring Fornews instead of Leon most of the time. Okay, and you can still try to stack 3 defense boosts of large effect if you have lots of BP batteries, and that will be very useful as well. Now, there is another way to use Liz, and that is to inherit from her past style. And I think that if you have her past style, you're probably looking at one of the best supports in the game right now. Dragon Blasting Plus is a fast skill, fixing her problem when not attacking on overdrive. So if you're not on overdrive, use Dragon's Blasting. This will give a defense boost of medium effect. It's lower, 25% damage reduction, but lasts for 4 turns. And it gives an heal and an extra BP. In this case, she gets 7 in that turn, allowing her to actually does not spend anything. And if you are lacking BP on overdrive, you can simply use Water Arrow that will still trigger the Ward Up Large. See? And in this case, she's providing more healing, a little bit of everything. She's not attacking though, so if you are using this with other characters that need you to attack to trigger other effects, this kind of affects her performance. But still, I think Liz is very useful. I only miss a chase attack to still have perfect synergy with other characters, like for example Katarina, that has a passive that can trigger up to 2 times, and for Neos that have passives that can trigger more times. But she's already good enough. She even has a counter now. Very useful for Megalith Dragon, but anywhere else. If you have Leon, getting Liz is not really mandatory. It's just better because you can use them together. If you skip it Leon, getting Liz is now probably one of the best things you can do for full support. And in the future there will be other characters as well, but Liz gets yet another style in the future that benefits from this one if you get it. So a pretty safe investment. And because she gets super close to Leon, I was super torn between a 4.5 or a 5 grade. I would say that if you have her Dragon's Blasting, it's more of a 5, and if you don't have, a 4.5, but very useful style because of the way she works. Moving on, we have Madeleine, and she is a damage dealer. You can see 135% STR, then 105% endurance, 105% wheel. They are a little above the average, but nothing special, and she is faster than some other attackers with 105% agility. Nothing else here stands out. She even has love and charisma on the low levels. She starts the fight with 12 AP because she wants to use her skill number 3, and she has a lot of other effects. For example, on the start of a turn, she gives 15% attack boost to everyone, but she also gives Elemental Enhance for Lightning. That will increase lightning damage for everyone by 20%, triggers 5 times, so here we can get 100% alongside the extra 15 for a total of 115% if you are using Lightning squads, just 15% if you're not. Also, on the start of a turn, she grants all enemies this weak point lightning defense down. This will make them weaker to lightning damage by 20%. Lasts for 2 turns, so that will stack and it will become minus 40% just from this alone. She will then also give all surviving allies lightning charge, that when they land a lightning attack, they can trigger 3 times extra BP, so up to 3 BP if your character attacks 3 times, and they will also grant themselves a defense boost that decreases damage taken by 10%, lasts for 2 turns and stack, for a total max of even 6 if your character attacks 3 times. That is pretty interesting, and it's to self, so all of your characters have to have multiple attacks, not like when you are using 4 Neos that one applies to everyone. Then, when she attacks, she always chases with Spin Lightning Slash. That is a pretty interesting skill. This one is weak, when you see that is just E power, but it grants all surviving allies a lightning attack boost with a 50% chance. It will improve your lightning damage by 35% on max level. It will stack, if you are lucky enough, to even 4 stacks if you are considering 2 turns of attacks. That will improve as much as 140% if you trigger 4 times. But you should consider half of that on average. Pretty nice, because if everyone is doing lightning damage, this will stack with all the other effects. Also, when activating an overdrive attack, she will then cast lightning charge to all surviving allies. That means that, for example, if you have 3 attacks with lightning attack, you can get as much as 3 extra BP. Now you can get as much as 6 BP on that overdrive turn. You have to use a fast skill because she only applies that after attacking and it only lasts for that turn. She will also allow you to get extra defense boosts as well. Then she has a 40% damage increase at all times, alongside 30% damage reduction. That's it. A lot of ways to increase lightning damage. Skill number 1 is the same that we discussed it. It's a free one that can be used at any time, that has a chance to apply lightning damage boost to everyone. Then we have the second skill, Lightning Crashes. That is a row attack that has slash and lightning damage and attacks 2 times with C power. That is interesting because it will actually attack up to 4 times because of the 2 extra chases. Well, if some other character in the future can allow you to get passives on multiple attacks like Fornews allows, that would be nice, because 2 hits of C power is close to entry level power of attack. And then it's row based, meaning that it will work in some Spiral Corridor floors like 270, then also on the future Remembrance fight where the enemies are aligned in a row. But you will probably want to use skill number 3 most of the time, because this one is very interesting. It is fast, well, similar to what we just checked about this, triple S power, double elemental, in this case of course slash and lightning, but because it's fast and applies defense boost of medium effect, decreasing damage taken by 25% lasts for 3 turns and stack. It is something that will provide you sustain on a character that is also a damage dealer. That is interesting, and I cannot say that Madeleine is strong enough by herself. It's hard to grade Madeleine because of that. If you are just thinking about using this skill and the 2 extra chases, and she may or not increase her own damage output, you are looking at a mid-range damage dealer. But everything changes when we talk about one character here, that is, of course, Meta, Kihachi. She is extremely powerful, and we all know that. If you have her latest style that has Lightning Blade A Fold, a 15 BP attack, and you can chase 2 times extra if you trigger her Brace. Kihachi has also Laceration that will work super well with all of Kihachi's and Madeleine passives. Laceration applies chance to defense down by 35%. This decreases the defense of the enemy by too much, and they will just keep stacking from different sources. With just those 2 characters, you can do a lot of damage. But if you got someone else, like Khalid. Khalid is another lightning specialist. He works now, but he is not as good as the other 2. So if you have, then it's just to reach very high damage potential and try to nuke bosses a little too fast. Because this guy here has the skill number 3, Thunderbolt Slash, that has weak point lightning defense down. That will decrease the defense of the enemy by 25%, lasts for 2 turns, will stack, where he can use lightning sequence that will give attack boosts. I don't think this is as good as the other. And he can attack multiple times as well. He chases with Demilune Echo and has a 50% chance to chase with a 3-hit attack that will also trigger all of the effects as well. He already has this 50% chance to grant lightning sequence as well, to then apply more attack boosts, and he works well because of number of hits. Creator will be another one that is a little hard to use as well, because it's not just about lightning damage, but he does have the Purge's attack that has lightning and sun, and when you are on overdrive, you chase with that again, as you can see here, Purge. So he's another one that will work if you want. There's also Silver that can do a lot of lightning damage. She switches between slash and cold and slash and lightning, and she attacks more often on even turns or on every 4 turns. And the number of attack can actually help decrease the defense of the enemy by a lot. And then Merlot Syra. I would say that if you use Merlot Syra, can get a lot as well, because we have a 5-hit attack Vortex Spiral, and if you have the inheritance from the other style that decreases BP cost, then you can keep attacking with this, and Merlot Syra will also chase 2 times with a 2-hit attack, and that will trigger a lot of damage increase. If you have at least 2 of the characters I mentioned in here, you can take full benefit of Madeleine, and she would be a very incredible damage booster. You can see my 2 last videos showcasing Madeleine, and you see how good she can become. She is also useful right now because of a combination that works pretty well of Hana, if you have. You may not, but it's not really required. Hana gives a lot of effect to your party, and you can also combo with Hawk, one of the 2 or maybe both, because Hawk also gives a little extra defense boost depending on the fight, where you may sacrifice some sustain. But remember that Madeleine can also give you defense boost, so if you can build a lightning squad, it's gonna be awesome. As for Madeleine, we have some interesting inheritances, but none of them are mandatory. From her latest style there is Tempest Moon. This will allow her to enter an evasive counter stance. It's a slash triple S power attack that would then counter with Demilune Echo, that is S power slash in lightning. We also have Demilune Burst Plus from her Platinum style that would then attack with an AoE and then attack again with Demilune Echo, that is S power. So you are attacking 4 times, much like using her second skill, but this one has higher power. Then you can use Luna Fulgur as your finishing attack if you want. Remember that Luna Fulgur has 80% HP recoil, so you're gonna get in danger unless you kill the enemy with that exact move. And for last, there is Hidden Moon from her UDX style, and this will give her an evasive counter, but counters with empty. That is a much weaker attack. So nothing else really makes sense as inheritance. So Madeleine is very useful as she is. She got buffs for global, and I feel like she deserves a 4.5 if you can make the lightning squad. If you cannot, she decreases to a 4.0. Moving on, we have Valdor, and Valdor is a farmer, and we don't have much to talk about him. It's 130% STR and 140% agility, very high values. He does have 95 endurance and will, so that if you want, you can use him for boss fights, but you should not. Well, this guy has a very interesting mechanic. He will increase his BP by 10 for only 1 turn, and then he recharges BP to start with 30. That's right. He also has 240% damage increases when attacking weak targets, and you're only going to use him for stages where the enemies are weak to blunt or pierce. He then has a column, a row, and an AoE attack with blunt and pierce damage. All skills have 15 BP cost. The column and row attacks have 4S power. The AoE attack has double S power. The column or the row attacks will also be used as a single target when there's just one enemy. The animations are fast, and he will solo if the enemies are weak to blunt or pierce. Doesn't matter if it's many enemies or just one enemy. So he is just made for farming. It's a bummer because Valdor was also a character that could decrease VP cost in the past, and right now he's just there for farming. You're not gonna use him outside of farmer unless you are just trying very old content. So sadly, very simple, then I'll give him a 2 out of 5. The last one is Shen Do, and he has 115% endurance and 120% will alongside just 87% agility and 129% intelligence. Very good defenses for a mage, but low agility. It does make sense because he's a character that has delay. He decreases damage taken for everyone in the party by 30%. That is awesome. On the start of battle, he has damage block for 1 turn, so he's not going to take damage because he wants to cast skill 1. It's a fast self skill that will grant him a defense up that decreases damage taken by 20% for the whole fight. He will then buff all surviving allies, endurance, agility, intelligence, and will by 50% on max level, and then grant a hit up that will increase damage potential by 20% for the whole fight. That's a pretty cool combination of effects, and he will not take damage in that turn 1, so use it. Then on turn 2 onwards, he's going to cast Delay Stance on himself, and that will stay for the whole fight. Because of the way that he works, he's very similar to Julian. He's a revenge counter of sorts. It's not really a counter attack, but more about that later. When an ally is attacked, he has a 37% chance to take that ally's place, reduce damage taken, and protect. When he is attacked, he then buffs all surviving allies, endurance, intelligence, and will by 5%. Those are not very high values, and we have seen characters like Faye that can buff one offensive status that is STR and then will by 15%. There's also Emperor that will buff endurance and will when attacking, and then when being attacked, STR, dexterity, and intelligence by 15%. Much better values. Julian does the same for STR and endurance. So Shen Do buffing only 5% really does not help much. Now, when he is directly attacked, he gets chase attack that is slash gust. This is a power single target, just slash damage attack, then applies defense down, decreasing the defense of the enemy by 10% just for that turn. That will only actually benefit Shen Do or other delayed characters in your party. So, kind of weak attack. When he is indirectly attacked, he then gets a different chase, that is Tempest Lightning. And it's his skill number 3. Full AoE attack with slash, this time lightning as well. And then it grants all surviving allies an attack boost. That will be 10% because it will be rank 1. Lasts for 4 turns and will only benefit your other characters for 3 turns because he's on delay. It has just B power. Well, I would say if you are in a fight where the enemies attack multiple times, there are multiple enemies on the field, like you are taking 10 AoE attacks in your face, then that makes sense to use Shen Do, because you're going to just attack 10 times while providing attack boost. If it's 10 times, you're going to get 100% attack boost that you can then help other damage dealers in your party do more damage. Shen Do is kind of like the evolution of sorts of Mask. Mask has the same mechanic, but it's a little bit different. It is when others are being attacked, he gets the whip stance. That would then chase with Thunder Whip, that is just C power, but it just scales as well because attacks multiple times. Another similar character is Julian. Julian, latest style, gets a chase when he is indirectly attacked. That's called Chance to Revenge. This one does much more damage though. It is a double S power attack with double element. If the enemy is only focusing on indirect attacks, then he is going to do much more than Shen Do. Although he is not as useful because he does not decrease damage taken for everyone by 30%, for example. But he also buffs endurance, will, and charisma by 5. So you are trading the intelligence buff for a charisma buff. Whatever. In the end, I didn't end up using Julian too much. And I did not using Mask because I didn't pull. But some people use these characters in very, very specific situations. Now, since he's on the delay, when you attack, you choose between your skills. But then, just to finish, this character has 25% damage reduction, 6 BP per turn. He then has only 20% damage potential, and then stacks 5 defense ups in 5 turns. And alongside the other defense up, pretty defensive. Now, you have to choose your skill to attack the enemy. He has a total of 6, that is 12 every 2 turns. And if you use skill 3 and then skill 1, you're only going to spend 11. If you have BP batteries in your party, you can actually keep using Tempest Lightning. This is the best skill because it is B power, AoE, and then as a command, it will be level 99, boosting attack by 15%. And if you don't have enough BP, you're gonna use Spark Lightning that instead is just E power. So this is what Shen Do can do. AoE attacks, and for fights where there are multiple enemies, because he's going to get many stacks of his AoE chase. His single target chase is really bad. Shen Do could also use Gale Cycle Plus if he wanted to buff agility, but it doesn't really help him. May help other people, but agility buffs are really bad on the current game. Shen Do is very skippable. I would say that I'll give him a 3.5 because he works. But even then, he is very easy to ignore and just use a real counter in the real situations. Just not good enough. But now, back to the banner image. Is this banner worth summoning for? In my opinion, yes. I'll give it a Silver Plus award. And why? Because we have only 2 really good styles. But they are good enough that they will stay relevant. Polka banner has 4 characters that are okay, but none of them are really good. With Liz here being very useful as she can rival Leon, a character that is used to this day and will still be used in the future. Madeleine is extremely powerful when paired up with Kihachi, and most people already have Kihachi anyway, and many other characters as well. And then if you are thinking about pulling here, get Liz, get Madeleine, drop the banner. You don't need to get the other ones, they are not important. So I pulled it, got those two, stop it pulling because I wait for other banners. We're gonna get a Conquest in Stage, Joe, and Bertrand banner, so it may also be better to wait if you don't have too much and decide when we get news. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Please say here in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to support the channel, we have links in the description. We totally survive via donations, since from views we cannot gather enough. But I hope to see you soon in the next video or live stream. Goodbye.